was growing up, there was some movie where Tanushi Datta says she has thunder thighs.
Oh.
And because of that, or maybe there was some Bombay Times article where it talks about thunder
Nana
thighs.
Patekar who said that. That's why he started the whole movement, if you remember.
Yeah, so my cousins used to make a lot of fun of me.
Ye thighs, thunder hai, thunder.
That I have thunder thighs.
Oh.
Yeah.
So there was my friend who used to live in a hostel in Andheri, okay? And once, and he used to live in Vasai. It was the funniest thing because I used to travel to Bhayandar every day after college. And his house was in Vasai, but I would drop him in Andheri for his hostel.
Yeah.
But he used to live in a Jain boys hostel. And one day he's like, you come with us, I'll show you a guy called Dikki, okay? And I'm like, what is this guy called Dikki? I don't know. Probably his name is some, Diraj or something. It's like and I kid you not, he took me only to show this guy's ass to me because it was humongous. Okay, and
it was that big?
It's one of those things that has no business being on the body. Okay, it's like the body is fine. Like it's a normal chubby guy body, and then suddenly bam,
it's like
it's a गांड, बहुत सारा गांड. Okay.
मेरे को घोड़ों के साथ हमेशा ऐसा लगता है कि घोड़ा चल रहा है अचानक गांड आ जाता है और like फिर वो गांड ही रहता है मतलब गांड पैर like you know what I mean there's no like it's like गांड और फिर अचानक से ऐसा दो लकड़ी निकल के आया गांड में से बस.
Yeah, they always like ask कि centaur अगर बाथरूम जाएगा तो कैसे बैठेगा उसके ऊपर.
There used to be a guy in our school called Anish Mahadik. And he also had a huge ass. तो
Okay.
वो नहीं mahadik की उसका नाम ही पड़ गया.
That was a misdirection. Maha-ass-ratri.
Mahadikki.
Yeah.
I think big ass is a curse sometimes.
Is it?
Yeah, because in trains you can't do anything.
When I was growing up I was so fat I used to get stuck in chairs and all.
Oh fuck.
That happened to me on stage in a school play.
Whoa.
That I got up and the chair came with me and it wasn't planned but it became a comedic moment. So everybody laughed. And they just thought we planned it.
Yeah,
like,
that's
no.
the best. No?
Yeah,
That's
no
my
country
ass.
for fat kids.
Yeah.
Even in our church, okay, they had like regular church benches and
Yeah.
then chairs for congregation who want to come and sing. But then for kids, they had like smaller Nilkamal plastic chairs, okay, and again same thing. A lot of us would get up and then the chair would come up and everybody would laugh in the middle of it.
There was this one chair we had which my brother and I used to fondly call the job chair because it was like if you sat in it the only way you could sit in it and balance was like this.
Yeah.
So it was like a blowjob chair. So I broke that because I was too fat.
Oh, I thought you got so much blowjob.
No. I was just like too fat for it to work. Oh man. Hey, how is the podcast going? Has it aged well going?
It's not going badly. So there are permutations and combinations like famous movie plus famous guest, big number of hits. Famous movie, not so famous guest, average hits. Same thing with famous guest, not so famous movie.
And then not famous
not
guest.
so famous movie, not so famous guest, struggles.
Yeah.
So
So thank God you had me on.
one of the better performing episodes. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so glad.
So
I do well on others episodes.
Yeah, man. I think
Something about
I'm bringing you down. I'm the lowest common denominator.
No, I think when it comes to our chemistry together, like I am more of like the hype man to the I'm the springboard for the joke.
Yeah.
But with other podcasts, there is no springboard.
There is no joke.
There is no.
Yeah.
So then I become.
It's surprising though, like how we can be off the cuff funny and be okay with that and like not swing it around like a major dick issue, right? Like not like mahadik. Like for example, what I'm saying is like I did a podcast recently. I won't say the name. It's a big brand. It's not out yet. But with me on the couch was a very famous influencer, former employee of theirs who's now like getting all the gigs out there. People think he's very funny. But on that day he was not. Like literally when the conversation was happening, I'm just like off the cuff, just killing it. Ye chup baitha, dude. I'm like to bolna kuch sa. Like I'm surprised that you're not improving or at least like going off the cuff little bit thoda sa. So I'm like that's one good thing we possess at least.
Do you think that's because we are used to hanging out in green rooms and
100%?
There is no shame. We have zero shame.
Okay.
I think
the thing is that I think it's also like there's two type of people who make fun. Like there's the people who need you to laugh. And then there's the people who are just being themselves. You know what I mean? A green room is full of people who need you to laugh at their joke.
Right.
Otherwise, they're really like, you can tell in some comedians' eyes in the green room ki iska aaj din mein kuch sahi nahi gaya hai. And this is the only thing he's hoping for, like some peer validation. But then there's like just general, what the youth will call a big dick energy, right? Like it's like, मैं ऐसा ही है मेरे को क्या I'm not trying to prove that I'm funny. And there's nothing less funny than someone trying to be funny.
Yeah, never in a green room. Like whenever I've tried to like plant a line which I think was intelligent or whatever, it's never gotten any reaction. But something I very subconsciously say as like a me person, they're just like, yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's like one thing I remember. I once passing me to Dudeja, I must have told that there was a situation where I was once doing a guy and he had a diarrhea situation, okay? And I didn't want to tell people in the scene mostly about my sexual life because I felt that there was a little bit of kya karta hai ye banda and all that. Like, come on stage, do your thing and everything, and then make fun of yourself if that's okay for us to laugh at. But don't tell us about this thing. So I think I mentioned that to Dudeja, and within 3 weeks, like there were some 5 comics who were like, in a green room, click, ऐसा हुआ तेरे साथ? Oh, fuck, ऐसा होता भी है क्या? And I'm like, हाँ, थोड़ा सा होता है. So, तू बता, डिटेल में बता क्या हुआ ऐसा. And they were like, I hope you're wearing a condom and all. I'm like, thanks.
But see, that way, na, I think comics are like, they have that childlike curiosity. Like we just
gossip, bro.
No, I don't think it's just gossip. I feel like there's this sense of like, gossip is, oh, tu kisi ka gand mara aur diarrhea ho gaya. But then there's the comedian who's like, tell me more. You know, like, was it a gooey? Was there an aroma? Like, these are the things that I don't know why, but we want to know.
Yeah.
It's also like how we make jokes. I feel like when comics make jokes, there's like when most people make a joke in a situation, there is some truth to it. But for us, like, we're so hard in the pursuit of the joke most of the time that even if there's no truth to it, we'll kind of adopt the truth for the moment for that joke to work. You know what I mean? Like with me and Shubho, constantly the husband-wife jokes happen because I'm like, I know this is not real. This is not there's no truth to this joke. It's just a joke because I found the opportunity and my comic brain is like, oh, khalipan, idhar joke. So idhar dal diya joke. You know?
Yeah. I just think sometimes, like, however, I say some very nasty things. Like, we both say very nasty things to each other, my partner and I.
Yeah.
And I don't know what will be like the ultimate line crossing thing, because in all my experiences of dating other men in the past, like there have been small things that they have been like, ye kaise bolte hai? Right. I don't want this anymore. But this person is just he's so open to like everything that I don't know what the line is. Yeah. So I keep pushing it.
But it's also worrisome. Like, because when sometimes it's like you tell somebody something jokingly, like nudging them in a thing, but then there's like a serious issue that they have, which they need to fucking acknowledge. And then you're like, bro, like, मैं 3 महीने से हंस के बोल रहा हूँ, but like, fucking, you know, do the thing, motherfucker. What is wrong with you? Basic adulting. What the fuck?
Yeah.
वो जब पॉइंट आता है तो थोड़ा डर लगता है. फिर लगता है अभी यहाँ पे झगड़ा होने वाला है आज. अभी 2 दिन दारू नहीं पीनेगा. हाँ, dude. When you feel a fight coming, don't drink.
Are you
I
dating
don't
somebody?
drink anyway. So me, yeah.
Yay!
Yeah.
I thought you guys knew.
We didn't know.
You've met her. She was at Habitat.
I know. I want to ask. So cute. I don't want to assume anything.
That's so nice. I'm so glad.
Yeah, because nowadays people are in situationships. They're not dating or relationships.
What is exactly a situationship?
Situationships is basically you fuck around. Essentially,
as in don't commit.
Like you have like a sort of base with one person, and they are on paper your boo, but you also have the opportunity
of सब चोतखणी है रे कुछ नहीं है सब चुतियापंती है.
Like they took the concept of an open relationship and made it even worse.
This is like added a word to it to make it sound different. It's the same shit, dude. It's like मेरे को तू पसंद है पर मेरे को चोदने का है तो तू भी चोद. यही है.
अभी ऐसा है कि मतलब वैलेंटाइंस डे पे कौन है तुम्हारे साथ? That person.
हाँ. और 15 तारीख को फिर खर्च मिटाने को फिर प्रतीक को फोन करने का.
Kuhad.
That's his only job. He sings songs and is for hire boyfriend on the side.
So, have you guys, I don't know if you guys know this, but Kuhad used to be very reserved and quiet during his performances. Yeah. And apparently since his breakup, he's become more open. He starts winking at his backup singers and all.
Yeah. Wow.
So, I think he cheated with one of his backup singers.
Wow.
It's my theory. I'm not saying
it's out there now.
Things coming into view here. This is
it's making him a better performer. So
but hey man, welcome to the E-News podcast. Next up, Janvi Kapoor's face. Is it a flotilla?
What is it? A
flotilla.
What is that?
Flotilla is like one of those things you give to kids to float in the water.
Oh, it's called flotilla.
The big ones, na, on which you can lie and all this.
It's called float only.
No, it's flotilla.
Look
at it. It's like a different structure.
The tube.
No, you gotta.
Which has a horse face sticking out for some reason.
When Mumbai drowns, that's what they'll call Antilla. It's the only thing flotilla on top.
I'll show you.
Did you see the videos from the?
It's one of those like interconnected things. Like it floats on the ocean. It's like a
oasis.
You know Waterworld, the movie Waterworld?
Yeah.
Everyone's living on a flotilla.
What a disaster that movie was. It was a critical, financial, everything. It was like
on this episode of Has It Aged Well?
Waterworld with Kevin Costner.
Yeah, it was apparently the most expensive movie of its time. And it bombed really badly.
But it was a very bad movie.
Yeah, it has Gina Davis also, no?
Yeah, उसमें gills होते हैं लोगों के.
Yeah, I love Gina Davis. Dude.
अच्छा.
Yeah. I love post-apocalyptic movies in general. Like,
Yeah.
that's my vibe. Like
Yeah.
I think Aakash and I are also developing a show where we are thinking of
Like
Mumbai
after,
in the future.
yeah.
And I love that element right now. Like you've been watching Last of Us, I'm guessing.
Not yet. I
Oh
haven't
fuck,
started.
dude! Abbas, one person I
I know,
trusted to
dude.
have watched good shit in this fucking
That's true.
studio.
Abbas is the one person I
Exactly.
usually trust
That's
to
the
have
I always
changed
ask
stuff.
him.
When you date someone and they're not into post-apocalyptic shit or geeky shit, then you have to sit and watch Fleischer is in trouble and fucking
What are these shows?
all these human dramas.
Oh, shit.
So yeah, but I will
She's
will
into
catch up to
movies
it.
and film and television.
She
and
is,
stuff.
but I'll have to drag her to a Marvel movie. Like she'll fall asleep in Multiverse of Madness, and
you
then I'll
know-
have to explain to her.
This
He actually fell asleep in bed.
Yeah, I actually did, but for very different reasons. But the Shubho is like very hardcore into films, dude. So then, like the things she wants to watch, go over my head, and when they don't go over my head, my face when I watch movies, I don't know if I've done this on this podcast, but like my face when I watch movies is a very like. I watch like this. Okay, this is my face. Because in my brain, like I'm soaking like I'm like, kya ho raha? To her, it's like, oh man, he really hates the fuck out of this movie, dude. Like he's suffering, like you know.
Yeah.
So 15 minutes into most movies that she makes me watch, she pauses and she's like, you know, we can just watch something else. Like you wanna watch Scrubs or some shit?
Yeah.
I'm like, no, it's great. This is how I look when I enjoy. Please. Did you watch that French movie? I Lost My Body. Animated
I've
French
seen it.
movie.
Yeah, it's
Oh my
beautiful,
god. Oh my god, the crying would not stop.
Yeah. It
Oh
won
my
the
God.
Oscar, no, last year?
It won.
It
should
was
have won.
nominated. I think
Yeah, it was
did win.
nominated for
Yeah.
Phenomenal. What a great fuck. But that's one good thing about having a partner that is interested in doing things with you but doesn't like the same things. It kind of makes you also do some new things, and then
Sure.
sometimes you discover things that you like doing with each other
Yeah.
that you
Yeah.
don't like doing individually.
So that's the thing, right? Like Last of Us, I started watching as just because it's out on Hotstar now.
Yeah.
And I've never played the game. I'm not a gamer, but I
Yeah.
know the lore of the
Same.
game enough
Yeah,
to
yeah.
like enjoy the thing.
Yeah.
And of course, whenever
What is the lore of the game? That's one game I never bothered getting into.
so like basically the spores in the air, which is
Okay.
caused by fungi, okay, and
Okay.
fungi is the reason that people are turning into zombies.
Nice.
So it's deeper than like just general zombification of people, and the crutch of the game is like holding on to the last sense of humanity you have. There's the last of us who are left.
Yeah.
Most of us have turned savage. People are either patrolling on each other or killing each other. But here we are the selected few who are trying to make sense of what humanity is left. Okay.
Right.
So our main lead character essentially Joel. He's lost his child at the beginning of the show and the game also, and he's turned into a much hardcore person by 20 years time jump in the show
Right.
when the whole world is basically. So they've changed the elements of the show, but in the third episode which we watched yesterday,
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people raving about
fuck,
it.
dude, oh shit! Like that episode is going to win an Emmy. If not the episode, then the actors like
Chalo, aaj to dekhenge.
Nick Offerman and Murray Bartlett.
Nick
And-
Offerman is
Nick
in it?
Offerman
I
is in
love
it,
that
yeah.
guy. What a fun guy.
and what a perfect cast to play that character, because if you think anybody can survive in a bunker in post-apocalypse,
Yeah, it's him,
it's
yeah.
Nick Offerman, okay?
that
And
guy
for-
knows his wood also.
And then Nick Offerman takes
Gives
a
me
bath
wood
and comes
also.
out fucking in a towel. Oh my lord! Oh shit! Look at this.
Tasty.
He is a beefcake of a fucking man.
Nipple hard हो गया.
मेरा सब कुछ hard हो गया. मैं
वो लंबर बिम्बर काटते हो.
dude क्या आदमी.
अंदरूनी शक्ति है उसमें.
I don't have much like macho man image in my head, but
Yeah,
if there's
but
a man, bring me
that's
Nick
the-
Offerman, dude.
yeah.
Oh fuck.
Yeah.
Offer man me a man.
Make me an offer,
Jesus
man.
Christ. And then he has a queer love-making scene, dude. I was so
Love
fucking
it.
touched. And whenever Murray Bartlett shows up, you're like, he's going to be a gay character because he was in White Lotus, the
boat guy.
the stewardess.
The stewardess. The
Yeah.
first season guy.
The first season guy who gets killed at the end, White Lotus. He was in Welcome to Chippendales as well with Kumail Nanjiani.
Okay.
He plays a queer character there as well. He was in Looking
Right.
with HBO. Again, Tales from the City. He plays queer characters all the time,
Nice.
and he pushes the boundaries of how you can play them well. You know what I'm saying? Like we had this entire discussion on this podcast about trans people playing trans roles or queer people, because the nuances of what he brings out is what matters.
Yeah.
You know, and
And
it's
he's
so good.
queer.
He's queer.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gay as fuck, and he's Australian, and he's going to win that Emmy. I'm pretty sure.
I love it.
Yeah.
Fucking great.
But if you watch futuristic films and TV shows from like the 50s or 60s, one thing I find very funny is so they'll show like flying cars or whatever, like
yeah.
robots and everything. But if you watch any screen, it'll still be 4:3 ratio. उनका वो नहीं चमका, their screens भी wide हो जाएंगी.
it's a convex fucking lens. Yeah.
Like that small thing never.
But the
fucking-
idea, I was reading about this where set designers for sci-fi,
Huh.
what they had to deal with in terms of like you have to on on one hand, like there is a vision for what the future is, but it needs to be executable with today's technology, right? So when you, like, one of this was the screens, one of it is also like the idea of personal communicators. Very few sci-fi things have portable personal communicators in your hand type of situation, right?
Yeah.
So like, I was reading about how art, like if you wanted to make a bigger screen, it also has to light up. And the amount of power it draws to light up a big screen back then is too much power that it can't come only to the studio. So then they would have to do these fucking weird hacks. Like, like Star Wars, the universe of Star Wars is pretty well thought out in that sense.
It's analog technology which is then used to
right. Like, there is no digital. That's the fundamental difference between all of these.
Even the torture machine, it was just like basically put together with like just basic needles and hacks and whatever the fuck. It was such.
But as far as futuristic accuracy is concerned, Star Trek has been more accurate.
Far more.
Than
Absolutely.
Star Wars.
Absolutely. But then I think Star Trek was sort of made for kind of people who were into that futuristic stuff. Star Wars is more like koi bhi dekh
Of course,
sakta hai.
I mean, for Star Wars was more appealing for us as 12, 13-year-olds.
Western
I watch Star Trek now and I like it more. I'm like, it's more for a...
I've never got into it.
Exactly. I've never got
into it, but
Star Trek thing,
It's a more utopian outlook than
So it's a fun
shows.
journey, no, for you, like from like dental school to here. It's like a...
To here?
to like... I mean, did you think that this would be life when you were in dental school?
Dude, dental school...
Because you come from a family, right? Your dad is also a doctor.
Dad, like you throw a stone in our family, it'll hit some doctor of some body part. It's like that.
And then the other one will heal also. Kahan laga?
Dental school was horrible for me, dude. Every morning I used to leave my house and just ask myself, why am I doing this?
Where did you do it?
Bangalore.
Oh, so and you used to live on rent there or with family?
I used to live on rent there, but my mother used to visit every
Often
like 3 months or so.
Oh, nice.
And the क्या बोलना चाहिए उसको, the opposite of cherry on top, the coal on the top.
I've been trying to find that phrase. It's difficult.
Is the way
the base of the cheesecake.
Sure, let's go with
great part.
It's not a good part.
What?
Sometimes it's burnt and also.
It's the only reason the cake tastes nice.
The cake has to be a held together
It's
situation.
the contrast of the base with the cheese.
My tragic days.
Sorry, I'm not leaving this.
What I was getting at is the way engineering and medicine is taught in this country.
Yeah.
Okay, like for example, in class, if I tell my lecturer something remotely, in a flowery language or something, there the lecturer's response would be, "Oh, you're an arts college or what?" I'm like, fucking ये क्या insult है तेरा क्या? या अगर अच्छी language में बोल दिया है तेरा demeanor अच्छा है या कुछ है तो you're from arts college. So the way they look down on creativity, the way they look down on any artistic endeavor, because you're in this scientific, or eloquence, just because you're in this scientific field, made my blood boil even more.
Yeah.
So But somehow I've ended up in the creative endeavors after all.
So was it easy to break it down for your parents? When you said?
So that Abba nahi maanenge story is mine only, from 3 Idiots. I started writing articles for Jam, just another magazine.
Yeah.
And this is where Twitter comes in, because Rashmi Bansal, who was the editor of Jam back then.
Oh shit, dude. This is like deep cut.
I know, used to be on Twitter.
Shakya was on Jam.
Exactly, yeah. So Rashmi Bansal once put out a tweet. Again, this is early days of Twitter, 2007-8. Anybody willing to spoof the film Ravan, Mani Ratnam's Ravan, with Abhishek Bachchan. और मेरा दूसरे दिन microbiology का exam था, and I didn't wanted to do anything but study for the exam. So I sat for an hour and a half and I wrote a spoof of Ravan and I sent it to Jam. कि क्या होगा, नहीं छापेंगे, ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा क्या होगा. But they published it.
Nice.
Wow.
So then Jam wrote back to me saying, would you want to spoof movies for us on a regular basis? I was like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Then Inception came out, I did it for Inception.
And you were really into movies back then also, like as a kid also?
So that became my escape. Like I was so depressed with what I was doing that I didn't even want to read, because my mind would again go
wander to the sad thoughts.
So I would bunk my classes and just go sit in a theater, watch even the shittiest movies.
Right.
But it became my escape, that there is some creativity going there, some imagination is being put on screen.
Yeah.
I saw some really weird ass movies, Being Cyrus,
it was
and
a great
Basic
movie.
Instinct 2.
Being Cyrus was such a great film.
Saif Ali Khan.
Nasuddin Shah and
movies which would only have a 9 a.m. show in the morning. I would just go sit in, and that time Inox ka 69 rupees ka ticket hota tha. So I could afford it also. So because I was watching so many movies, I could spoof them.
Yeah.
So once I had some 3-4 articles published, then I took a stack of them to my dad and I'm like, see, my work is getting published. So there is merit in what I want to do.
Yeah.
that's what made my father think, maybe my son is not dumb as I thought.
Maybe he's just good at something else.
Abbas goes to his father is like, I'll earn my butter from jam.
So that's great. Or I had not come up with that part.
You can keep it.
Yeah, take it.
फिर मेरे डैड ने बोला तू साइड में कुछ कर ले, like let the dentistry thing keep going on and find something on the side. तो साइड वाला कोई मेरे को मिला नहीं.
Typical Indian.
Exactly. मैंने बोला कि ऐसे कुछ मिल नहीं रहा है. I will have to completely shift my focus to this thing. So in India, if you're pursuing a degree course, you can't pursue another degree course.
Yeah, it's not not even a diploma.
Your diploma you can do. Or maybe you can do.
मैं खुद illegally किया.
तो मैंने भी वही किया जो भी तूने किया. So then
crime admission.
It's like the dumbest thing. The government is like, how can you? We want more education.
Yeah, how can you? Who are you? Savitri Bai? What? Yeah.
How dare you?
Yeah. It's crazy.
तो बैंगलोर के डेंटल कॉलेज में शायद अभी भी मेरा हॉल टिकट आता रहेगा. Because I remember there was a senior of mine. Something goes something. She became an actress. She quit and she became an actress. तो उसका भी hall ticket आता था. So it used to become a prized possession between those clerks. In Canada they used to say, see her hall ticket has come.
Nice.
So yeah. But yeah, so then finally I pushed my dad to make me completely jump over to another course.
What did you
course
jump to?
So then I did research और veganly एक बहुत ही fuck-all UK University का diploma course था. They were offering course in media, but they weren't offering it in Bangalore. They were only offering it in Bombay and Delhi. So I'm like, I have to come back to Bombay.
Yeah.
So that's how I came back and टाइम पास किया 3 साल उधर कुछ नहीं किया. The good thing was I found a couple of lecturers who were good. There was a guy called Utkarsh Nathani who used to head Radio City ka creative programming back then. So he was very helpful in finding me my own voice. And while all of this was happening, I did East India Comedy ka open mic, where I won the very first time I went. You were there, I was a lordling.
You was a lordling.
What is a lordling?
Lord, the junior lords.
Oh.
They had lords and lordlings.
The interns were called that essentially.
He was a lordling.
I was a lordling.
East India Comedy.
Yeah.
Dudeja and all
the
were like
penis of a
lord.
Aristocrat.
lordling. Yeah.
So then in the second year of my diploma, EIC was like, hey, why don't you come intern with us?
Yeah.
So that's then how I got properly into comedy.
Abbas has been around for a while, like in this.
Yeah. I've just been fucking lazy. Otherwise, I would have been a star.
He had hair back then when he started comedy. Yeah.
Just like not much more.
Barely,
hair.
yeah. We used to call him
much more.
We used to call him Abbas Momin back then. No, it's Abbas Momin.
So you want to know what gave me the courage to completely shave off my hair?
What?
I was also under this delusion कि नहीं किधर मेरा बाल जा रहा है ना ऐसा ये वो.
What you said was very important because my parents had the same thing also.
Yeah.
Where like after I became a writer and I showed that I can work and earn money through writing, my mom was like, I told you pehle only when you should have like left if you didn't feel like it. And I'm like, when I did tell you in my third year of engineering, they told me to hold on one more year because you're almost there.
Yeah.
Just get the degree and have it safe side.
Yeah.
But I'm never like she still to this day thinks that I can use my degree. And I'm like, do you understand? Like in the 10 years, it's been 10 years since I've passed out.
The technology has only changed. Like what you learned is irrelevant.
मैं नहीं करने वाला मेरी माँ मैं अगर रस्ते पे भी आ जाएगा ना भूखा मर जाएगा मैं नहीं जाऊँगा किसी इंजीनियरिंग कंपनी के पास कि मुझे काम दो मुझे नहीं करना है.
But it's so interesting where like so when I was doing law and I got done with law, I had that moment where it was the law ka that sanat, right? You have to get a practicing license, and that was where my parents were like, just why not? And I was like, if I do this, then you have to burn the boat, man. You know what I mean? Like if I say yes to this now and if I do this law ka and there's a fucking sanat ka exam, then it's like a fucking foot in the door for them, right? It's like, oh, ab ye kar liya to practice bhi kar hi le. So I was like, no, burn the boats. Just burn the fucking boats. Now I'm having trouble because I didn't get my degree certificate from college and I can't find it.
But where does it come in use is really my question.
Degree certificate? It helps in like when you're applying for certain visa and all. Not just for migration, for visa also you need it sometimes.
General visa you need?
Yeah, and sometimes for if you're going to perform and all, some of countries they need you to give your educational qualification. So usme wo, I know, it's a thing.
Okay.
We haven't had that problem yet.
I know, yeah. I mean, but that's a weird thing, no? Okay, unless you're disqualified, you can't make fun.
It's not that. If you say that you're disqualified, you have to give a certificate showing that you're disqualified, na?
Okay.
अभी मेरे को पूछेगा educational qualification, मैं डालता post graduate degree, पर फिर वो degree certificate भी तो चाहिए ना उसके.
Yeah. Especially when you're saying post graduate.
Yeah. So उसका थोड़ा scene है. अभी तक मिला नहीं है मेरे को. मिलेगा एक दिन शायद. It was damn fun. I was in Rizvi. I missed the picking up period because I was not in Bombay. I go to the college. I'm like, hey, where's my thing? I go maybe 8 months later. Because they didn't communicate to us only कि तुम्हारा आया है.
Yeah.
So I go, they're like, it's been like term has changed. we don't have it. I'm like, where is it? It's like, we don't have it. I'm like, did you get it? They're like, yeah, but we don't have it. I'm like, okay, so get a new one. Like, tell the university to get a new one. They're like, no, you file a FIR saying you lost it.
Hmm.
And I'm like, why should I file that FIR saying I lost it? You lost it. They're like, yeah. And I was like, so now? They're like, go file an FIR.
Yeah.
So
on our behalf.
Yeah, and then I was like, so, but will someone from your office come? Because I need to say that the college lost it. Like, no, you can't say college lost it. You say you lost it. Varna, we're not helping. So then I was like, fuck you, I will beat the system. And I have not yet. There's no way to beat the system.
You've lost.
Yeah.
In the whole bargain.
I have lost.
System always wins.
Have I told you about that time capsule story from our college?
Yeah. Yeah, you told on the podcast.
I don't know.
You don't know the story, no?
Go listen to the app.
So because they were supposed to send us all the stuff. Okay, it's been like 1 year and nothing's come to us. So in 2012, our college ka festival theme was time capsule, where like they buried
Festival ka theme time capsule.
So that 2012 ka jo bhi hamara memories tha in letters, pen drive, photos, all of that.
Dunya khatam nahi hua.
Went underground, like some 7 feet underground. Or the last year was 10-year anniversary, or nikal ke le hai. And everything is waterlogged. Like they didn't account for the fact that there's water underground, and everything is ruined. So then they put a classroom, they made into an exhibition center. Ki whatever we have salvaged. So my friends went to see. They're like, सब ऐसा फटा हुआ ऐसा newspaper सब रखा है वहाँ पे. वो दिन का कि 2012 का newspaper था. I have like letters, like a love letter to my then boyfriend, which I wrote in the future tense. And अच्छी यार. कोई मुझे सामने से पैसा भी देगा मैं नहीं खोल के पढ़ने वाला हूँ. अच्छी यार क्या.
I have a time capsule. I told you, right? I have a time capsule that I still have. Like, it's gonna stay. It's like this big. It's one of those small boxes. And it's fully nicely tapely. This thing. It's just like artifacts and shit from Bachpan and things that I collected.
When will it be dug out?
It's not dug out. It's like we taped it completely and we kept it in a cupboard because we were like, if you dig it, then the rust will happen and there's this 500 ways it can go wrong. So I still have the capsule. And I will keep it. Like, I'm going to wait till I'm at least like, I don't know, like 60.
It's going to be like that Amelie chapter.
Like when my kids, like probably give it to my kids instead of like ever opening it myself.
Have you seen the movie Amelie?
Yeah.
It's long
French
ago.
one, no? Where she like the floor
But there's only one
opens.
black guy in all of France.
Yeah. That's how
And
it
it's in
goes.
her conscience. Hey, नहीं भाई काले लोग ही नहीं उस पिक्चर में. It's like Friends इतना साल चला 4 काले लोग मिले उनको पूरे न्यूयॉर्क में.
Yeah.
But by the last season of Friends, they gave Ross black
the paleontologist. Yeah. But वो भी कितना मतलब
Aisha Tyler.
10 साल लगा सोचने के लिए. काले लोग होते हैं. Oh, but brown Velma was horrible. Did you guys see the Scooby-Doo?
I haven't seen it
Kelly,
yet, but why is it getting so much hate?
Because you haven't seen it, you don't understand.
Because every dialogue is so unnecessarily woke. Like even people who are on the liberal side of the fence are like, ki bas kar yaar, aisa.
It's like, you know how sometimes people think that you don't have to write jokes, you have to say words.
Yeah.
And the words have to be relevant.
But
words.
enough about the Big Bang Theory.
Skin crawler.
Horrible show.
Big
in
Bang Theory.
retrospect.
Yeah.
In retrospect.
Also
though.
very scarce on black people.
Yeah,
Big
very
Bang
scarce.
Theory.
Yeah. Because it's about university and all.
Yeah.
They are like, नहीं दिखाना ही नहीं है. But you know what was a great show that did all of this really well? Scrubs. Scrubs was a phenomenal show.
It started with a black and white guy
and
being
multi-ethnic class.
Yeah.
All the if you look at all the major characters, there are literally like 3 white people, and then the rest are all different.
So you want to know the most tragic thing? I got into Scrubs just as I was
Season
I was getting out of dentals college. I'm like, why wasn't this my life?
It wouldn't have been. That's still like a very glamorized version of that.
But it was still such a beautiful show. Like it had male friendships that were not toxic.
Yeah.
Like the Turk and JD friendship is like me and Tawal, me and Navin. All my best friends are kind of built on that sort of structure of like, that the surgeon and a doctor. You remember the musical episode? They did a whole musical episode.
I remember that. Yeah.
So like, I was just like, wow man, this ऐसा मर्द लोग कर सकता है दोस्ती एक दूसरे को बेमतलब बाल खींचने का जरूरत ही नहीं है.
Like every time they saw each other, they would jump on each other's back and go eager.
Yeah,
it was so like,
that's so great.
Yeah, it was cute.
They handled deaths also so well on that episode, on that show.
Yeah, if you have the time, watch the first 8 seasons, not the 9th. Just the first 8. Cry with me at the end of the 8th season when Book of Love plays.
Yeah, fuck.
Oh, what a moment.
That's a way to bookend a show actually.
Yeah.
and then ruin it also afterwards.
Okay, we'll be back after a quick break.
Yeah.
Sure.
Let him
Bol,
sit.
bol, bol.
No, so that asshole doctor
Oh yeah.
who calls him nicknames
Yeah.
is
Dr.
exactly
Cox.
how every lecturer
Dr.
was
Cox,
in my
huh?
fucking dental college.
But not nearly as handsome.
Nah, of course not.
I think I've inspired a lot of my personality from Dr. Cox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Long rants, girl
Long
names.
rides. Yeah, and not
Hey
girl
Shirley,
names.
you know the episode where he has the every girl name that he's called him over the fucking 8 seasons.
Yeah.
And dude, to do that line, you know what was fascinating to me about that character was he could remember those rants and do them in a go, dude.
Yeah.
It was too good.
Didn't get many roles, poor guy.
No, he didn't. Yeah, but you were saying he used to do a lot before that, by the way. If you watch movies from the 80s and 90s,
Correct.
you randomly see him in a
He
lot of
was
movies.
secondary character, like in the White House, he's like the third
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
He's the president ko advise kar raha hai. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good show, good memories.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, on that note, quick break. See you on the other side.
Hi friends. Before you go to the ads, one quick announcement. We are now offering memberships.
Yeah. YouTube memberships on Varta Lab. Don't worry, we're not reducing episode frequency or anything. You still get the episode every week. We're just giving more stuff on the YouTube memberships.
Ad-free audio, live access to our shows,
Early episodes.
Telegram group that you will be a part of.
And we'll do weekly catch-ups there as well. You'll get clips and bits that don't go into the episode. And we'll do live Varta Lab shows starting with Mumbai and in the rest of the country and hopefully one day the world.
So now when you see the join button on the Varta Lab YouTube channel, you know what to do.
Yeah.
Press it.
Become a member now.
Hey, it's been a special week for the IVM Podcast Network as we turn 8 this year. Listeners, thank you for being with us on this wonderful journey. Presenting to you, Club Cyrus Says, the premium tier offerings for our podcast. Club members will get exclusive Cock and Bull episodes every Monday, extended and unfiltered versions of the guest episodes, access to the Club Cyrus Says Discord server, and audio offerings such as ad-free episodes and early access to guest episodes. Also, members get to decide the topics of live episodes and get their name on the producer's slate at the end credits. On The Wire Talks, Siddharth talks to former BBC journalist Satish Jacob about the latest income tax raid conducted at their BBC office in Delhi. On The Habit Coach, Ashton helps you get a perfect answer to the question, who do we work for? On Storytellers and Storysellers, Vineet hosts actors Madhyama and Chayan from Netflix's hit series Class. They spoke about how they prepared for their roles and working with Ashim Ahluwalia. And on Varta Lab, Aakash and Navin talk to Anshu Patni, CEO Mythoverse Studio and podcaster. They speak about parenting, home culture, and Anshu and Akash's days working together. Once again, don't forget to visit our merch store on ivmpodcast.com. We have some exciting stuff for you over there. Follow us on social media via IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. If you like our shows, spread the word. Tell your friends and don't forget to rate and review us wherever you're listening to us. You'll also find all our shows on youtube.com/IVM Podcasts. And finally, we would like to thank our sponsors this week, Yono SBI, Cash Free Payments, and HDFC Mutual Fund. Thank you for making this possible.
Like these low budget sci-fi movies that are really nice, but are also like kind of weird, but are really like Starship Troopers. Remember Starship Troopers?
Yeah.
The whole
Starship
movie is
Troopers
made
is
as like a fascist.
It's a classic, bro.
Yeah, like
It's a cult classic.
it's a
Yeah,
cult
yeah.
classic.
Didn't
It's
become
still now
famous,
like
yeah.
a famous movie.
It was directed by Paul Verhoeven, who made Basic Instinct
Yeah.
also.
Yeah.
And then that other movie, you know, Earthquakers, the one with the things that come out of the ground to
Tremors,
eat you.
Tremors.
Tremors.
Yeah, Kevin
They
Bacon.
did a Tremor 1, 2 and 3, I think.
Yeah.
And they were fucking great, dude.
Yeah.
Then these were all these, like I was saying this, I think on one of our episodes only earlier, all these mid-budget movies are sort of not happening anymore, you know, where all the
Yeah.
magic used to
Dude,
be.
Contact.
Yeah.
Have you seen Contact?
Yeah.
Jodie
It's
Foster.
great fucking
The
fucking
ending
film.
is so trippy.
Yeah.
Contact.
Yeah. And is that the movie where that scene is where she's running to this thing?
Yeah.
That's a camera
Fucking perfect,
master.
dude.
And it's all like in camera, cheap.
Yeah.
All good people who want to make good cinema. You know what I'm saying?
man.
What happened to that?
They're there. They're
Yeah,
just-
because I remember this one when I used to work at IVM and Abbas, we had that little intersperse where we both used to work at IVM.
Yeah.
And by the way, Abbas is the reason why we have a fingerprint scanner at IVM.
What?
I don't know if people know this because
The fucker always mentions it
I want to because it'll be because I only biggest argument I had with Amit was because of Abbas because I was not going to give a fingerprint to
Yeah.
a corporate company again.
Yeah.
I'm like, I've left that life. I'm
Yeah.
working at a startup. Why do you want a fingerprint scanner? And they're like, and I'm just like, if you don't like it, then maybe you should leave. And I'm like, okay. And then I did my comedy thing.
ठीक है मालिक ले लो मेरा
Ungli maaf kar do. But when Abbas and I used to work here, I remember we used to do this IVM likes ka show.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
And we had this heavy debate about like, is superhero films ka time done? Like, are we oversaturated and he was like, नहीं मजा आ रहा है मेरे को तो और picture आने दो.
फट गई ना फट गई ना हाँ पाद दिया ना वो मैं खुद के.
अरे this was 2017.
Yeah. But I saw it coming. I knew exactly what it was.
Obviously, it was. Dude, I'm telling you, the companies have figured out they don't need to make good stuff anymore. They just need to make passable stuff constantly.
Churn out, yeah.
Yeah, that's all this is. This is like, and eventually people are gonna get bored with this. Then they'll come back with like original cinema.
But what do you feel now?
About oversaturation?
Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah.
For everything. Of everything.
Yeah,
like,
so I mean there, like you gave the example of The Last of Us, right? The premise of The Last of Us isn't like supremely unique, you know, post-apocalyptic, zombie apocalypse, all of that.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with them still doing it. So superhero by itself as a concept, fine, do it.
Yeah.
But then find some gravitas to it.
That's where I loved Captain America Civil War. Because then it felt like it was like an espionage sort of film that was in that superhero space.
Yeah.
That's what they tried with She-Hulk. They wanted to, remember when they said in the first episode, they lied to us and they said this is going to be a legal drama?
Yeah.
And then it was not even drama.
No, they would feature a court scene in every episode, but it was so like, अच्छा तेरा ऐसा हुआ, अरे बुरा हुआ, तेरा कौन सा court dude, कौन सा court ऐसा करता है?
Like वो character खुद को ही seriously नहीं ले पा रहा है.
मैं क्या चूते हो कि true crime documentary बैठता हूँ 15 साल का court case देखता हूँ मैं just because I want to understand the proceedings of how it goes, and here it was actually a fucking kick in the nuts.
So there are seeds of interesting stuff. Like WandaVision started very interesting.
Yeah, the first half of that season was great.
But then the last 2 episodes were again boom, boom, pow,
dude,
pow.
And even the production was so bad, dude. You had like random extras sitting in frame, not doing anything. Like if you just look at it from a technical this thing, it was horrible.
Yeah.
And the baseline of that show is only fucked up to me. ये पागल औरत इतने लोग को बंदी बना के रखेला है, and then the end is now I see my ways are wrong.
And then the thing is, next time you see her, that doesn't have any repercussions.
Nothing.
Yeah, her character.
That's what they did with fucking Daredevil and She-Hulk, dude. What a great fucking character. Was just completely destroyed and turned into like, oh, मैं तो बस punchline के लिए आया हूँ.
मैं slut walk करता हूँ.
कोई मेरे साथ sex कर दो कोई please.
Yeah, मैं भी punchlines.
Yeah.
वो बेचारा Daredevil 3 season वो confession box में बैठा पसीना ला रहा है उसको बस अंधे को कि मैं सही कर रहा हूँ गलत कर रहा हूँ सही कर रहा हूँ गलत कर रहा हूँ और कट टू अभी वॉक ऑफ शेम कर रहे हो.
I really want the Punisher to come to Marvel though, like the fucking John Bernthal version which was so good.
The show one, na?
Yeah, but they won't bring it because it's R-rated. No.
Yeah, and also I think that version was like sort of like in the lines where Andor is, where it's kind of.
I was just coming to Andor. So like that's a great example of how they've taken an established thing but done something new.
But that's because from the day one, like the showrunner ka interview I was reading, और वो बोल रहा था कि day one से we had it very clear with Star Wars कि you don't touch this. Like this has nothing to do with you. Like it'll fit in the timeline. Don't worry, but just stay the fuck away. I think that's very important ना. वो end में it's like तू carpenter को रखा और फिर तू ही end में उससे हथौड़ा लेके बना. That's every fucking corporate client I've ever had.
Yeah.
Is तू है ना कारीगर तू कर and then they बहनचोद धीरे-धीरे eventually तुम ही बैठ के चाय पी रहे हो और वही बना रहा है because like तू ही बता क्या चाहिए.
And the sad part is like the director will take the fall for it, right? Like David Ayer is not a bad director. Like if you watch Fury, it's a great film. Like
Fury was great.
It's a movie. I love movies which are shot in one location in one space because then it really lets the characters. Like 12 Angry Men, or if you take like Fury also because it's just like these soldiers in a fucking tank getting mad at each other over time and everything. But then they push Suicide Squad on him, and then when fucking Guardians of the Galaxy came out, WB was like, oh, we have to make this like this.
Yeah.
So they shoved so many fucking musical they spent the entire budget on reshoots and getting musical numbers, whitewashed the poor guy's vision and then put him under the bus.
Yeah.
Josh Trank, famously, that guy lost his brain by the time Fan Force Stick was done. That guy lost his fucking mind because he was like, kya kar rahe ho tum log, dude? And then he went to Twitter and then the whole fiasco played out, right? You know what he said on Twitter, right? He said ki a year ago, the vision I had would have been a great Fantastic Four movies, but somebody had to meddle. Basically just said he opened his mouth, okay, and then he was blacklisted from Hollywood entirely.
Fucking
Poor guy. He had to go to like a therapy and full breakdown and everything happened with him. Poor chap. And just like he had just done fucking that movie. Chronicle, correct. Have you seen Chronicle?
No, I haven't seen Chronicle.
It's a found footage. No, it's a first-person short camera film.
Oh, is it the one
handheld?
with, Superhero Kids.
Dan Dehan.
What a great movie that was.
Michael B. Jordan, Dan
Dehan. Yeah. What a great fucking movie that was, dude.
So if you let the director have his vision, he'll make a good shit out of it. But then you fucking meddle, no?
Yeah.
Everything is just that, I feel nowadays.
A lot of it is just, I think 90% of the world is that. It's like what you see on the news is nothing about what is happening on the street, right? It's like my mama watches the news on WhatsApp fucking and he'll come and tell me shit it like, तू कलकत्ता जा रहा है, उधर तो लोगों को मार रहे रास्ते में. And I'm like, तू क्या चूतिया है क्या, तू क्या पढ़ रहा है bro?
Exactly.
ध्यान किधर है तेरा? मैं चूतिया, मैं हर महीने जा रहा हूँ उधर, मैं चल के आ रहे रास्ते पे, मेरे कोई नहीं मार रहे लोग, मैं आता है तब राइट बंद हो जाता है. As if fucking the whole universe is, anyway, so I mean, this is everywhere, dude, and it's like a cancer.
I think you should add on to it. Like always be like कि हाँ लोग मारे थे लेकिन बाद में मेरा शो भी किया मैंने, क्रांति आ गया. सब लोग ने
सबने हाथ पकड़े, सबने
पत्थर तो नीचे रख के साथ. All that happened. Bombay kind happened. Fucking Bombay is a great movie, but the end is such a bullshit fucking end. Okay? It is such a fucking bullshit end. Mani Ratnam, I have questions. Bullshit. सब लोग हाथ पकड़ के साथ खून बह रहा है लेकिन ऐसा हाँ माँ बाप कर रहे.
People are dropping swords like we don't want to kill people.
If you allow them now, they'll fucking get back on it. To be continued चल रहा है उन लोग अभी तक. Fucking hell. Shit, dude. What a country.
Yeah, but I think it's just that. Like even when it comes to like brand deals and all, whenever we do it, like brands will consciously tell you, don't mention the pandemic, don't talk about people dying, don't even like they're literally wiping it off of history completely. You know what I mean? Like they don't want any mention of it.
Which is very, very weird. I don't know why.
Yeah, we're just all pretending like it didn't happen.
Yeah.
As if that's going to solve it. It's the classic fucking 1920s मर्द वाला attitude. ओ तेरे सामने तेरे माँ बाप मर गए, कोई बात नहीं बेटा.
Like to Batman बन.
Tomorrow is another day. Like तू तो मर्द है ना. Oh, that means you are the man of the family now. So what if you're 6? Wipe those tears. Grow a dick.
Grow a dikki better.
Yeah, I think people would respect the dikki more because like this was made for a throne. What normal shell can occupy this ass?
I will call it a mahadik.
Mahadik Rana. It's like I miss the time when there were kings in the country.
You weren't even there.
I wasn't even there.
You weren't even around to see.
But I have this, like, sometimes you have a yearning for things that have gone and you don't have it.
Yeah.
Like, I'd be a perfect peasant, man. I'd be like, yeah,
you'd think so. You know what I mean? But then, like, you realize that there's, like, it's way worse back then. You probably wouldn't make it to adulthood back then. You know what I mean? Like the little things. Like I have that deviated septum nose thing. You know, kids who are born with that back in the day, they were high chance of dying in childbirth only or whatever the fuck.
Good only, like that.
Yeah.
What have you done, achieved?
I mean, I feel like you're right.
Yeah, exactly. ये septum से मन का ग्रहण है, कुछ नहीं होता.
I don't think it would be much more different than what it is now, bro.
What?
Because वो सब court में हो रहा है ना, ministers and everything is happening there. How much of it trickles down to the common man or woman?
In fact, I think back then, it was like you were in this landscape that was ever, like there was not really changing much. Like, you know what I mean? There were no major technological developments until all of them happened together. So if you were in that dull period in the middle, then there would be like this sense of, oh yeah, you know, मेरा बाप भी यही करता था, मेरा बेटा भी यही करेगा, मैं भी यही कर रहा है, सब सही है, सब.
Nepo kids.
Who gives a fuck? Yeah, full nepo babies, bro. किसान का बेटा किसान. How can it?
Yeah.
How can it?
Kisan jam. But now with the podcast, like how did Urjita get involved in this whole thing?
How did the idea come about?
Because she's like half your age.
Idea came about because of one film, Dil Chahta Hai. Okay, when I see Dil Chahta Hai, I still don't think.
You should have called me for that episode.
This gussa is because we didn't call Aakash for Dil Chahta Hai. So I still don't think it's an old movie, okay? But when I talk to the 20-somethings in office or generally,
it's a classic.
I know it's 22 years old now. So the much younger people think, nahi, kya isme itna kya khas hai? Like it's also ending is that only goes to a shadi and stops the marriage and everything. Why was it so revolutionary? So I wanted to have that conversation with a younger person that you don't get how big a deal it was for us. We thought everything changed because these people were like us. We aspired to be like these characters. And Urjita, I always found her very funny on Twitter.
Yeah.
And it was specifically one reel that she made. If you guys have seen that,
Porn
director wala, the one that she's made, where it's a very little thing. But if you see documentaries, before they cut to a talking head, they start playing the audio while the sequence is on. And then it cuts to that. Okay, and that she's done that in that reel. I'm like, okay, this person watches films or TV very carefully. And she happens to be like 10, 11 years younger to me. So she gets that younger perspective also.
How old is she?
She's 24 or 25.
Whatever he is, minus 10.
You're 36?
I'll be 35 in a month. No, in 2 months. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Revelations, huh?
I know,
Drapes,
yeah.
Abbas'
And carpets.
age. I'm fucking mad.
So I got her on for a pilot when we recorded for Has It Aged Well, and she was hilarious on it.
Huh.
So when that went around the office, every person was like, "Man, you got to have her on
Yeah.
more episodes."
Yeah.
So then I
She's
was like,
damn funny.
"Yeah, so why not just have her on as a co-host?"
Yeah.
Also, she brings that balance where I'm this very erudite English speaking
Yeah.
kind of, and then she.
Yeah.
Does
Yeah.
She comes with one line like that.
Although
which
she
gets the
forgot to
laugh.
come for a spot yesterday that I gave her very lovingly. So yeah, I will remember.
At least she gets spots.
Yeah.
No, but she's easy to talk to. That's essentially what it is.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So yeah, that's how Has It
Yeah.
Aged Well happened, and Urjita.
I was supposed to come on the podcast and do Dostana, but they haven't called me.
Arey,
yet.
hi, you're about to be scheduled.
Lawda. Abhi about to be scheduled. मैं बोला
about to be.
इसका
ऐसा भी नहीं कि we are working.
I think
About to be.
Abbas was like कि पहले मेरे को बुलाने थे वार्ता लैब पे. This I in politics, I tell you. Yeah, I watched Dostana twice in anticipation. I have so much to say.
I watched Hum Aapke Hai Kaun. I was just like, not happening.
It's nice.
Yeah.
I can still bear हम आपके कौन हम साथ साथ है I cannot. हम साथ साथ है में दिया like कि cringe level 11 20.
वो नॉब टूट गया फिर पाना लगा कि और खींचा उसको.
But this one, Monish Bell is fully like this for the whole entire
Yeah.
movie. I'm like, just tell us he's gay. Like, why are you even like fucking bench? It's annoying.
Dude, I saw Uchai. Did you watch Uchai?
The one with
Arey,
the
the
Sunny
new one,
Deol.
the bucket list
Suraj
one.
Barjatia, हाँ.
Yeah.
Oh,
Actually
dude.
वो है ना
You didn't say
पिक्चर का
Jatia, by
मैंने
the
नाम
way.
सुना है.
But Jatia. It's Jatia.
I heard the name of the movie and heard
हाँ.
the cast and I
हाँ.
instantly knew what the premise
Of
was.
course,
So then
yeah.
I was like,
You
मैंने
mentioned it
देखना
on. We guessed it on
है.
the show
no,
only.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So then I didn't watch it.
I watched it. The last 45 minutes of that movie is. Now every Amitabh movie is now Bagman. Like, I don't know
I think
why.
it always was. It was never was not Bagban. I
Yeah.
feel like Bagban made that whole quintessential ki like मैं यहाँ मैं तू वहाँ what feeling. My parents would like emotionally torture us, dude. We were all kids when Bagban came out. I'm like fucking 12 years old, and she's like, one day you will do this to us. And I'm like, bro, you think I'll earn that much money? And we'll all have separate houses and all. Fucking Charlie.
Yeah, but
कोई हीरा.
if you haven't already, you should check out Chirayu Mistri's bit on Bagban.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
It is the
Hilarious.
quintessential piece of
Hilarious.
literature
And,
that covers that movie.
And Soldier, no, I'm not Soldier, on Border also.
Border,
Yeah.
but he had to take that down because of idiots. But
course.
the other one he had, this is still on. It's in Gujarati and in Hindi. Check it out. It's fucking too good, that bit, dude.
Yeah.
Some of those jokes, fuck, dude. It's like चश्मा टूट गया, चश्मा ठीक है तो की तरह STD पे रोज पैसा खर्चा कर रहा है ना तो पैसा कहाँ से आएगा चश्मे का. Oh man. Anything else you want to cover?
I'm good.
I'm also good, I think.
I don't know. I screamed
I
at my
guess.
parents. I'm fine.
I guess that's the episode then. Hey, thank you for coming all the way down the
Thanks,
hallway.
man.
Sorry for all the reschedules. Actually, the way this has been happening is we've been thinking कि अब्बास तो अपने इधर ही है तो हम कभी भी कर सकते हैं उसके
Yeah.
साथ तो फिर इसलिए हो नहीं रहा था. But
You know, I have one question for both of you individually.
you're not allowed to ask questions.
How is it both of us
How
individually?
does this work?
As in, same question to both of you.
Yeah.
Where do you guys think you are comedically in your life right now? Like,
Shit,
do you
Yeah,
do you
but-
feel
Jesus Christ, dude, I am not ready for this conversation right now.
like, do you feel content enough that, oh yeah, I can do this for the next 10 years comfortably, or do you still have?
I think Aakash has made like an entire game plan, and owing to the fact that I am privy to most of his game plan also,
Yeah.
I think he's a Gujarati man through and through. So when he schedules like
You are actually. I remember once we were in a car going somewhere, I think Hive or somewhere, and you literally like mapped out the whole
Yeah,
thing.
he bricked out the schematics
Want to do
of-
some down payment on a house, शादी वादी हो जाए, फिर
हाँ.
बच्चा हो जाए. I
No,
was like, this
we
guy
were working
sorted.
we were working at Hive, okay, and this was like he worked at Hive consecutively, and
we
उसकी
got paid like $6,000 a month.
Yeah. but no, wait. That's what. So I was paying us like 10,000 per month or something, and for doing the entire month's programming, okay. And 3 महीने ये काम किया, बाद में 5 महीने मैं काम किया, और इसने गाड़ी ले लिया, dude. पागल बंदा गाड़ी ले लेता है. And I'm like, where did this car come from? Like, I'm assuming your father's. He's like, no, I've been saving from the day I was fucking working. And I'm like, you know what? I've been working since I was 14. I saved jack shit. And that perfectly describes our comedy careers. Okay, where he has a 10-year plan कि वो 10 साल में कहाँ होने वाला है. मैं वाइफ पे जी रहा हूँ. I'm just like vibing and I'm fully feeling my vibes and I'm going to go somewhere and I don't know where I'm going to go.
Yeah.
But good thing is like as compared to him, I've created a bigger portfolio of writing back work, which he has not.
Yeah.
So I think for him, it makes more sense to throw himself into comedy more. Whereas I have taken it little easier, if that push came to shove for me, which is this year.
I also feel like you're way better as a writer than I am, because I don't have the patience for it. I don't have the patience to sit and work on something for 6 months and then be like, oh, pasand nahi hai aapko, to main naya show likh deta hu. Like, I can't do that. Like, comedy is way more instantaneous.
Do either of you feel stand-up might get taken away from you at some point?
Not really.
I feel like everything else can, but this cannot.
This cannot,
This is the only thing that's actually mine through and through. Like, tomorrow, if I'm left with no friends, no family, nothing else, I can still fucking go to an open mic and do 5 minutes or whatever, or still book a show in some place. Even if I'm vilified by whoever the fuck, there'll still be enough people who know that I'm doing this because they've seen me do this for 10 years. Come to their bumfuck town, wherever the fuck they live, come regularly, do shows, full shiddat se. So I think that comfort level comes from that.
Okay.
Everything else is in the air. Like, abhi kya hai? Abhi Varta Lab aaj hai, kal nahi hai.
Exactly. Like, recently I did a show, like 10 minutes ke liye I did not do a single joke. I was not feeling like doing material. So I just told them about the threesome I had last night. So I feel like I'm at that level with my audience that they know my brand and they won't judge me for where I'm coming from. And I think that's all it is.
But I think that's a nice place to, like, because like yesterday, to give you an example, I was doing an open mic first and then I was doing the 10 baje wala show. 10 baje wala show was my show. 5 baje, the earlier one was the open mic. And I was so bad at the open mic, man. I realized I'm just bad at, and 5 years ago, if you had told me, Aakash, one day you'll be great if you're playing your audience and you'll be really shit at an open mic, I would have been like, that's so bad. But now I realize, yeah, because वो सारा मेरा audience है, इसमें 5 में से 1 जन मेरा audience है, तो obviously ये नहीं होने वाला है चलने. So that, I think that majority of it comes like, and your definition of what's good about what you do also changes a lot with time.
That's what. And if I had to leave this question with one last learning that I have had, is like I've seen a lot of comics on the same lineup as me, bigger, famous. They walk on, they get a huge applause because people know them. And it's always the quantitative measure of when they walk off stage, how the clap size what defines you as a comic. And I've heard more for myself than for a lot of other people. And that means I'm here to stay. That's all I'm going to say. I think that's bottom line for a lot of us. Like, you know, can you take a room full of somebody else's fan and turn it into your favor? I think that's
it's the last justice. Everything else is fucking like debate. Like, if they're in front of you, they're laughing. Either they're laughing or they're non-laughing. It's fucking binary. It's in front of you, and it's not like music ki 4 famous log ne share kiya to chalega. It's not like fucking movie ki you have to be somebody to get. You have to look a certain way. Nothing. It's just like one person and the fucking air in their lungs. You know, that's what I think is like. This is the last frontier of justice left.
Yeah, the last bastion of free speech. Real free
More
speech.
than free speech, also I feel just the last place in the world where there is absolute justice. If you suck, then you suck, and no amount of work in your life will make a difference now. Because
and if you take away all the like bells and whistles of comedy, what it bears down to is just you and a crowd talking. All you need is a crate. That's all you need really, and then they're there for you. I think that's what it is. And so I think like what I also notice, because you're asking this question, I think it's a very, you're also thinking ki like kya ja raha hai all of this, right? Like it's for you also, I think.
No, because for me, I am now realizing I've been lazy as fuck for the last couple of years.
Yeah, you have.
So I always have this where I'm doing a job, I'm doing podcasting and all of that. So I'm like, the ideal scenario is, okay, I will get a fan following through this, and then maybe one day I'll be back on the stage. But every once in a while when I do get a spot, when I go on stage, even if I bomb, like you guys know, there is a certain high you get even after bombing. Right?
Stage pe chad ke bolne ka ek alag
you can never come off stage blank. There will always be a
myriad of things in your head
circling in your head, whether good or bad. So that I miss that stimulus when I come off stage. I'm like, I want to do this. So then every month I'm like, okay, this month I'll sit down, write new material, go bomb on stage, and then develop that material. So I'm still in that zone.
Correct.
But I'm bored of my old material. I want to let go of it.
That's what I was going to say, that like
you haven't written
a lot of new stuff, because I think for you also, no, I think you have to do a deeper dive. Like, I don't see Abbas on stage sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm being very honest, because the fans know you also.
It's a guy trying to make jokes.
Yeah, when I see you on Cyrus, you're being so yourself, no? And you're opening up about your tragedies also.
Right.
That's what, like, I think vulnerability is such an important thing for comics.
Correct, absolutely.
And we want to put up a guard, because for the longest time I wouldn't tell people I'm from Bhayandar, because I'm like, what if they'll judge me? What if I tell them I'm from Bhayandar and I'm a middle class kid who grew up in a chawl? But then the moment I embraced that, I was like, fuck all of y'all, this is my story, it's so unique to me. And none of y'all have that. You know what I'm saying? So I think that will definitely be a criteria for you.
And with stand-up, it's a myth to think that I'll get an audience through something else and then they'll come me watch to stand-up. Because in that meanwhile, when you're building that audience through the other thing, if you're not working on your stand-up yourself,
Of course, yeah.
by the time they come to watch you, it'll be a diminished experience to watching you on a podcast, and they'll be like, "Fuck, this is not worth it." So it's the most important thing in that regard is just like when you're doing it, like you have to build it. Like it's like brushing your teeth. You have to do it every day or as often whatever, and you have to shiddat se usko karne ka hai, so that आगे जाके you don't get fucked.
Right.
And when we used to do improv, like my favorite thing was to do scenes with you because it was such a easy. Like improv में कुछ है ही नहीं ना. Like the scariest was Sriram because and I'm not even shitting on him because we have like this Cyrus says beef going on or whatever. It's just that
it's buff.
Okay, so yeah,
Please.
Cyrus says Buffalo. But
He would come with preconceived
He would
notions.
come with preconceived jokes. Okay, and improv is all about letting go on stage, and so.
Yeah.
But Abbas does great voices, great characters, and everything. It was so much. Once I remember we played Gay Lovers on stage. It was my favorite thing ever.
At a bar.
At a bar, yeah. So I think
Did you rub your thighs?
I think the photo is exactly like that.
yeah, man. So just keep it going. I think you have like people have like fight like a lot of people who are like now saying ki Abbas is amazing. I'm like, yes, it's always been amazing.
Yeah.
Just the laziness has to be because the biggest fight we had in the Citrus was because Abbas would come 1 hour late. Dude,
And there was no biometric also.
there was no biometric also. So he'd be like, 2 baje rehearse kar rahe Abbas, like, मैं 2 baje aa jaunga. I'm like, no, but we all come at 1 so we can then get in the zone, eat lunch and everything and then be ready at 2. But if you roll in at 2 o'clock, we can't start practicing at 2.
Yeah.
But ho gaya.
But
Yeah.
just a regularity. That's all it is. Yeah.
Cool.
It's like it's same thing happens with me with working out. If you work out like inconsistently.
I'm not doing that.
I'm not talking about working out. I'm saying like the pattern developing in your life.
Muscle, yeah.
Each time you start working out again, you're less motivated than the first time. Because the first time you didn't do it for long enough to feel the positive effects of it. So like if you give yourself 3 months, okay, I'm going to do 3 mics a week for 3 months. That's it. Like don't make a big commitment, you know. Then you'll start saying, oh fuck, I'm actually getting better. Then it'll kind of become a positive feedback loop.
Nice.
Yeah.
This was an intervention.
Now he knows why we called him.
But hey man, keep it going. I think your show's
Thanks,
doing really
man.
well.
Thank you so much.
Great guests are coming on board, and I think Bollywood is such a nice little, you know, what do you say, a honey trap of so many.
It'll never run out of stuff.
Yeah. So I think what also matters, like when I say White Lotus season 1, season 2, I'm like they've cracked the concept. Abhi unko season banate rehne ka hai. New location, new cast members, new
Nothing
voices.
matters,
That's what you've cracked with Hasidish well, and I think congratulations to
Thanks,
you,
man. Thank you so
Urjita,
much.
and keep it going.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yay.
Congratulations on Varta Lab.
Bit late, but sure, we'll take it. We'll take whatever we can
No,
get.
why?
Yeah, exactly. You're in your what? Fourth season.
Thank you for making it to the end of the video. I commend your attention span.
Which means you're an OG fan.
And if you're an OG fan, then we have something that you're going to absolutely love. Varta Lab is starting memberships.
We're going prime, baby.
No, don't worry, we're not going to reduce the number of episodes you get every week. You still get the same episode. But with memberships, you get it earlier. You get clips and bits you don't get in the episode. You might get to watch the episode being taped live, raw and uncut. And also come to live Varta Lab recordings in your city or, well, in our city. Wherever you are.
Yeah, so many benefits, only one podcast.
Varta Lab.